Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Rameshbabu Praggnanandhaa of India is yet again in the spotlight, and this time it's for something even bigger. Nearly 2 years ago, I shared a video when he became the youngest international master in chess ever. This time, he has now become the second youngest chess grandmaster ever. He did this on June 23, 2018, at the age of 12 years, 10 months, 13 days. And he really did it in style. He did this at the Gredine Open tournament, which is a 9-round event being held in Italy. Now, I'm going to share with you his 8th round game, the one that put him over the top, the one that allowed him to achieve that final prerequisite for the most prestigious title in the game, Grandmaster. What does this mean? He achieved this final Grandmaster norm with a round to spare. That's how fantastic a result Pragg had at this tournament. His opponent in this game, playing on the black side, 18-year-old Italian Grandmaster Luca Moroni Jr. So let's dive in and see this historic game. Pragg opens with e4. We have a Ruy Lopez on board. Cozio defense. This is a pretty brief game, I must say. After 15 moves, it's objectively gone. It carries on for another 15, but it's over, objectively, after 15 moves. White builds in the center. Black fianchettoing. What to do with this pawn duo? Well, white gives the knight a shove. Playing knight c5 allows black an opportunity to challenge the white pawns, but white hits first. Computer suggests knight e5 straight away. In the game, it's first a6, and only then knight to e5. One of the differences is that the computer is a fan of playing c6 with a punch against the bishop, pawn, and at the same time you create a path for the black queen. So from here, knight takes knight. This recapture, generally you would think of a recapture moving forward as an improvement for that piece, but that is not the case here. The bishop would much rather be on g7, guarding against bishop h6, and simply staying on the square where it is not nearly as accessible. f5 at any moment will hit hard, hit with tempo. First, knight c3 in the game, d6. If bishop here, at this moment, there could be a little bit of back and forth, knight g8, bishop returns, and the knight develops. White just gets on with castles. Black plays on the queen side. D takes c6, en passant, recapture, and now bishop to h6. So now that things have opened up on the queen side, it becomes a little bit awkward to make these backward moves. They're likely not it's likely not a good move in these open positions, underdeveloping like this. But yeah, this bishop is a real pain. How do you get castled? This is a tough one. This position is already very difficult. White has the rooks connected, and the king. How does he get safe? From here, bishop e6, f4. Queen b6 check, king h1, d takes e4, knight takes e4. This knight eyeing up 2 of the dark squares and is coordinated really well with the queen on d3. What does black do? Rook d8, queen a3, staying on these squares, staying coordinated with the knight. And at the same time, the bishop still has to react to this threat. And he can't go wherever it wants. Bishop c6 in this game, or bishop c7, excuse me, would be mate. Look at these pieces. The minors are killers. So what happens? Bishop d4 in the game. Still keeping a watchful eye over f6. Bishop g5. Intersecting on f6. Knight f6 must be captured. King f8. Mate. Bishop takes knight. Not something you want to do. Give up your dark square bishop when you have these holes in your position. But what else is there? Rook is under fire as well, and you cannot castle your way out of this threat because You would lose the knight and then some. Rook g8. A sad move to make, but what else is there? Rook on an open file, one rook is off. Knight is in the center, throwing a punch. White just backs up. The king tries to run, but he's not going to run too far. This is black's best piece. It's addressed. Pressure on it. Queen b5, you cannot take twice here, because in the end there would be mate on f1. The knight is taken out. There's no longer defensive e3. And after the capture, again, rook takes bishop. You end up getting mated. From here, queen e3, move 27. White is coordinating on the e7 square. From here, g5, giving up a pawn just to have something maybe going on the g2 square. That's not going to happen, though. This bishop is not going to move. After queen c6, there's just another 5 moves, and black throws in the towel. If you'd like to, pause the video. What did Pragg play next? Okay, here we go. Very forcing continuation, very clean continuation to this game. King g7, queen e5. A fork on the bishop and king. f6 with the fork, but we could just take the bishop, exchange queens. And after a capture, rook takes here. The game goes no further. Black resigns. The rooks will come off after this if the game continues. And, well, this is just one of the many ways this game could finish from here. Being up 1 pawn in a king and pawn endgame is good enough, let alone 2 pawns. One of the many ways it could have ended. But this is as far as it went. Rook to g5, final move, black resigns. Historic game, fantastic result in this tournament, and a big congrats to Praggnanandhaa. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video, maybe even share a comment or two, some words of encouragement for this young talent. I love seeing successes like this, young players achieving great milestones, and I look forward to seeing more successes by Praggnanandhaa in the future. So, congrats to you and continued success.